Hey everybody, and welcome back to some more Oxygen Not Included. We're back once again with the Impenetrable gang, who up until recently were doing a pretty good job at living up to their name and being somewhat impenetrable. However, over the last couple of episodes, we have been somewhat plagued by slime lung, which is slowly but surely creeping its way into the main heart of our base. That is something that I do want to work on and try and fix in today's episode. We've tried to fix it a little bit with these deodorizers, trying to turn some of that polluted oxygen into regular oxygen to hopefully kill off some of the slime lung. However, I think one of the main issues we're having right now is that there's just not enough oxygen in the air over here. You'll see if we click on the gas overlay, everything's a little dark on the blue front. And so I think, if I'm not mistaken, if we throw down a couple of diffusers, we should be able to fairly easily, I hope, take care of some of this slime lung. Long term, we are going to have to cover up the actual slime with concrete, with tile, in order to actually stop the slime lung from escaping into the air. And another big problem that we're having right now is the fact that we have a storage bin that is full of slime lung. You'll notice if we hover over any given tile of the air, we've got about 2,000, maybe 3, 4, potentially 5,000, 16,000 down here, it's a little higher. But if we hover over the storage bin, there are 17.8 million slime lung germs inside of this storage bin. And as you can see right there, over time, the storage bin, if it contains slime like this, will send out a little puff of polluted oxygen, which will then add polluted oxygen with slime lung to the air and thus perpetuate the problem. And so eventually we do need to move this. I've seen a couple of options for things we can do. Much like with the bleach stone, we could go ahead and put it in chlorine. That should at least contain it and should also start to kill quite a bit of the slime lung. I saw people also suggesting that we put it underwater. Putting it underwater, I believe, stops the polluted oxygen from coming out because there's just so much like pressure on it from the water. Either way, for now, I'm going to leave this here. We'll work on that in a future episode. What I want to work on in today's episode is getting our algae distillers online so we can actually start to produce algae and hopefully keep our diffusers running in the long run. And I also, of course, want to set up our thimbleweed farm over in this room over here. I'd like to take care of our growing carbon dioxide problem. You'll notice that we're slowly starting to get to the point where our everyday usage rooms are going to be filling up with carbon dioxide pretty soon. And so that is something we need to take care of. We can do that with a carbon skimmer. And then finally, I would also like to get down another coal burning generator next to this one. I have moved this room around a little bit between episodes to make room for a new coal generator right next to this one. And the main reason for that is due to the fact that once we get all of these algae distillers online, they're going to be consuming a whopping 480 watts just for them, which is almost a full coal generator's worth of power on their own. And so, of course, we do need to get another one of those up and running. And so the first thing that I'm going to do in today's episode is actually go ahead and try connecting these. Of course, we need to hook up the algae distillers, or the oxygen diffusers, sorry, that I just threw down, like so. And we do need to provide power to all of these guys as well. I'm not going to be as worried about decor here. I'm not too bothered about putting the wire in the tile because no one's going to spend too much time down here, and so I don't think that the decor is going to matter too much. However, one thing that I should point out real quick, and I'm going to cancel this wire that I've just placed down. You'll notice, or you may have noticed, in the last episode that we built a couple of things using gold, which is not ideal. It's not terrible because there is a fair bit of gold on the map, but compared to the amount of copper that we have, if we look up here, we've got so much copper available to us, it's just not being harvested just yet. And so I really do think we should save the gold for crafts and items that require gold, which we're definitely going to come to later in the series. We definitely shouldn't be using gold to build things like our algae distillers, like we did in the last episode, as well as things like wiring. We could, of course, take these down and rebuild them out of copper. I'm not going to do that just yet. If we get to a point where you know, we really need gold, we could always do that as a last resort. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and set like a priority 6 dig over in this direction so we can dig out some of this copper. And then it might also not be a bad idea to get a ladder going all the way up into this area up here, because there's just so much copper up there. And right now it's a vacuum. There's no gases in here, so we don't have to worry about chlorine or hydrogen or anything like that. So that is good. On top of that, I do want to work towards getting the smart storage research right here, which gives us access to the auto sweeper, which you can use to automatically sweep up items, right? So over here in our algae distilling room, eventually, over time, what's going to happen is these algae distillers are going to consume slime and they're going to output polluted water and algae. And as I mentioned in the last episode, the algae is placed directly onto the floor. Now, you'll notice that this room is one of the worst for slime lung, and also right now it's not doing great in terms of breathability either, and on top of that, it's quite a walk away from the core of the base, meaning it takes our duplicants quite a bit of time to get over here. What would be ideal is if we could have an auto sweeper automatically pick up all of that algae and then transport it back over to the main base. That would be pretty great, and I think we can do that using conveyors and using auto sweepers. I've not played with the conveyors or the auto sweepers whatsoever, and I don't think we're going to get to that in today's episode. It's going to take a little while to do all the research here required to get to the auto sweeper, but that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm hoping to set up in the future. Along the way, we do also unlock the fire pole, which we might set up. I do quite like the idea of the fire pole, that our duplicants can just rapidly descend down to lower levels. Mostly, I just want to see the duplicants use the fire pole. I don't know if it's going to be super useful, at least not until the point where we're going super low down to like the bottom of the map to try and get stuff like oil. But for now, back over here, we'll also go ahead and schedule some slightly high priority digs on this copper. We can also dig out the coal as well, why not? Speaking of coal, let's throw down that new coal generator right about there. I am still a little bit concerned about the positioning of our power plant here. It's fairly low down on the grand scheme of things, but it's also higher up than I'd like. Up until now, it's not been a huge problem. You'll notice the room here is not super hot. 25 degrees is maybe a little hotter than average, but it's not crazy. I think the reason for that is due to the fact that we're actually not using that much power right now, or at least we don't have many items in the base that use sustained power, right? Something like the algae distillers or something like the refrigerator that we talked about in the last episode that use a constant, never-ending stream of power. We don't really have that right now. The only things in our base using power really on a consistent basis are the oxygen diffusers, and they turn themselves off when there is enough oxygen in the air. And so right now, I think we've done a pretty good job of not using all that much power. Once we start using a lot of power, these guys are going to be running all the time. Like right now, they are automatically turned off by the smart battery. If we start adding items that use a lot of power, thus the coal generators are going to have to be on more of the time, and temperature is going to become a bit more of a problem. For now, I'm not going to worry about it too much. If things do get too hot in here, we can start looking at maybe moving it, maybe surrounding it with some insulated tiles so we can keep the hot air inside this room. But again, that's just kind of something that's on my radar. I don't think it should be a problem in today's episode. We will see. And as I mentioned earlier, if we're going to completely prevent the slime lung, which actually, let's check on that real quick. I think this is working. I think the slime lung here is doing a fairly good job. This is a max gas pressure, which is interesting. I would have thought that max gas pressure would have started to kill the slime lung a little bit faster. This guy does, of course, need hooking up with power. Now that we've got almost 3,000 gold, you can see how much, copper. You can see how much easier it is to get the copper than it is to get the gold. So we'll go ahead and hook that up like so. Whilst we're at it, actually, we might as well go ahead and continue to run that all the way around and down to our algae distillers as well. Not like that, but a little bit more like that. And then also, let's not forget that we do have to pump out the polluted water that comes from this. And for now, we'll do the exact same thing where we'll just go up and across and dispense all of that polluted water into our current body of polluted water. And speaking of polluted water, I did talk a little bit in the last episode about this lot of polluted water up here. And I guess by extension, I'm talking about this bit of polluted water as well. If we're going to completely cover the slime, if we're going to put tile down to prevent the duplicants and the air from, having contact with the slime lung, we do have to take care of these two bodies of water here, because if we just try and build tile, all of this is going to come flooding out, and it's going to be a pain in the backside to try and clean that up. Now, I did mention in the last episode the idea of our duplicants coming over to the pitcher pump, manually getting the water and then dumping it out in the bottle emptier. I was talking about it when we were moving all of our water from here over to here. And I didn't think it was possible. However, people in the comment section have pointed out that if you go into the bottle emptier, you'll see that right now auto bottle is off, and there is an enable auto bottle option in the bottom right, and it says if enabled, duplicants will deliver bottled liquid to this building directly from pitcher pumps, which is pretty cool. However, I did a bit of testing, and it is very, very very slow, and it also, of course, consumes a lot of time for your duplicants. And so I think if we are going to move these bodies of polluted water here, the best way for us to do it is going to be in the exact same way that we moved the normal water that we had over here, and that's going to be just put a pump in it, have some pipes going over to the vent here, and just have it all pumped over in that direction. I think that's really the only way that we can go about doing that. But again, that's on the back burner for now. The first thing I want to get done is this. I want to get the algae distillers up and running. And also, let's start putting down a couple of hydroponic farms to see if we can't up our thimble reed production. So, under food here, we of course have the hydroponic farm. I think I'm just going to put these in the floor, like so. I don't know if we're going to quite need this many, but for now, I see no reason not to put a bunch of these down. They do consume polluted water, but again, for now, polluted water is something that we do have in abundance and is something that we are just gaining passively from the fact that we have our duplicants going to the lavatories. Speaking of lavatories, now that we're up to 6 duplicants, I think it would be a smart idea to throw down another lavatory here. I don't think we're going to run into an issue where we have a duplicant pee on the floor, at least not at this stage, but you know, we can never be too sure, and so I'll throw down another lavatory there. It's really not too big of a deal to get that up and running. This guy is ready to go. He doesn't have coal just yet, but that's fine. We do want to make sure, of course, that this guy is hooked up to the same automation as the other coal generator, so that when the battery is full, the coal generator turns itself off. We're still looking for somebody to run our power control station. Right now, nobody has any skill points available, but hopefully, fairly soon here, Bert will level up and we can make him into an electrical engineer, at which point he can start tuning up our generators and making them just that little bit better. People did point out as well in the comment section that we now have a Sage Hatchling Egg, which is incubating down here in our base. Right now, nobody's complaining about being cramped. I think that's due to the fact that we only have 3 hatches in here. We could go ahead and move this wild hatch over into our incubation center, and I might do that. We're also fairly close to hatching a new egg here, which I might just move directly into there. This guy is going to grow eventually, so I'm thinking for now we'll just leave those on the floor, mostly because we don't have anywhere to put them. We could put down some more incubators, but I think they are a little expensive here. Let me check. The incubator, yeah, it requires refined metal, which is not super pricey. It mostly means we have to have somebody work on the rock crusher, but again, right now, all of our duplicants, you know, we need them on other things to getting other stuff done, so I'm not too bothered about this just yet. We're doing okay on coal. 11.1 tons is nothing to sneeze at, so for now, I'm totally fine with where we're at on that front. And in the last episode, actually, we did make the apothecary, but we didn't use it. And again, there you can see we made it out of gold, which is potentially not ideal, if a little bit lavish. But now that we have the apothecary, we can go ahead and actually make medical packs. A doctor-administrated cure for moderate disease. Medical packs are very effective against slime lung, which, of course, is the plague that's affecting us right now. Frankie does have a little bit of slime lung. I'm not quite sure where Frankie is at the moment, but he does have slime lung, and ideally we would be able to cure that. Now, there is only 0.9 cycles left on his slime lung, and so I'm fairly tempted to just let him live that out, mostly due to the fact that if we look at the recipe for the medical pack, you'll notice that we actually don't have enough to make it due to the fact that it requires 200 kilograms or 2 kilograms worth of balm lily flower, and right now we don't have that. Now, balm lily flower is a little interesting in that it grows in chlorine. If we look at the database entry here, the balm lily naturally contains high levels of vitamin concentration and produces acids similar to, however you want to pronounce that, commonly known as aspirin. So we do need this, but if we scroll down, the main thing we're looking at here is the fact that it only grows in an atmosphere of chlorine. And right now we don't have a controlled chlorine atmosphere. There are, of course, chlorine atmospheres around the base that we could try and dig into and try and harvest the balm lily that exists. But ideally what we want to have at some point, if we're going to grow this ourselves, is a little room that is fully sealed and fully contained in and of itself that grows the balm lily. Again, this is something where the auto sweepers could come in useful. And also, can we get a slightly higher priority on this? It's already slightly higher, actually. Why are we not building this wire, my friends? I would very much like to get this oxygen diffuser online so we can start to rapidly kill some of the slime lung here. Also, we should definitely look into finishing this off for one, but also putting down deodorizers into the room here. I'm going to put one like here and maybe here as well. And I'll put airflow tile here for now, just so that the air can actually like circulate around and get diffused by the deodorizer, or get deodorized by the deodorizer to hopefully clear up some of the slimeling in here, because there is quite a large concentration of it that is getting worse down here over time, which is not great. And I don't think our oxygen up here is going to help with the polluted oxygen down there, just because there's such a small gap. We could probably do with putting down some airflow tiles over here. Also, I did realize between episodes, there's not much need for this mechanized airlock anymore. Like either of them. The slime lung is pretty similar on both sides of the airlock, and there's no gases over here like chlorine or hydrogen that we have to worry about. And so I will actually go ahead and disable these as well. Right now they're just using power unnecessarily. They use 120 watts every time they open and close. And speaking of which, we do also, first of all, need to put down the thimbleweed over here. Right now we've only got 2 thimbleweed seeds, but that is fine. We'll get more as we go on. There's a 10% chance that we get a seed when we harvest the plant, so that is good. I will deconstruct this one over here. I don't think there's any need to have this one. I think some polluted water is going to come out of that. That's fine. I think it will only be a small amount. New skills are available. Hopefully one of these people is Bert. It's not, but he is getting a little closer there on the engineering front. It is Frankie, who is currently doing hard digging and grilling. So right now he's our cook and he's our digger. Now, we could give him super duper hard digging over here, which would give him the ability to mine obsidian and diamond. However, I don't necessarily think we need that just yet. I don't see us mining diamond or obsidian anytime in the next couple of cycles, or at least before he hopefully gets another skill point. And so I'm kind of thinking about maybe pushing him somewhere else. Right now, I think the only thing that we're not doing is improved construction. Now, improved construction doesn't give you anything specific, I don't think. Like, you don't get any specific trait, like being able to clear water out of pipes with plumbing. And so there's not a huge incentive to go for it, but being able to build things faster is always good. It's kind of one of those skills that we really would like all of our duplicants to have, so that they can all just build everything faster around the base. So I'll go with that for now. We can always put him in the skill scrubber if we decide we want something else later on down the line. I will, of course, take some thimbleweed seeds here. I kind of wish we'd have got those a few episodes back, so we didn't have to do so much digging out over in the slime area, but that's fine. Of course, now we've got the access to the slime for the algae distillers, which is fantastic. I guess we could look at maybe moving these guys over into here. I don't know. Actually, maybe they might not work in that environment. I assume they do have like a working temperature range. It doesn't say anything in the database, but I would have to assume that if these guys get way too hot or way too cold, they will stop working. And, you know, negative 30 might be a little too cold for these guys to work. I'm not too sure. Although they would probably just end up heating up the ice around it and then, you know, melting that into water, which would eventually heat up the area as a whole. Probably not going to do that. At least not just yet anyway. But for now, do we need the power wire going all the way that far back? Yeah, we do. It goes all the way to the right there. That's fine. So that is almost hooked up. This is hooked up. Do we have a wire missing somewhere? I'm assuming we do. We do indeed. It's this one right here. So this has not yet been harvested. The polluted water. Ah! No. I'm a fool. I am a fool. Okay, let's... Priority 9. Let's block this off real quick before it becomes a problem. Although I think it might have already become a problem. Yeah. That is not good. That is not good at all. That is actually really annoying. I can't believe I didn't think of that. Why is there not a door on this building, for one? I don't think a door would have helped. It would still move through, nonetheless. But let's also get a priority 9 mop on here. That is entirely my bad. It's not terribly game-breaking. Simply due to the fact, oh gosh, the germs, they spread so fast. Yeah, there's no way we can handle this, I don't think. Like, there's no way that we can stop this, is what I mean to say there. Like, the germs, we can't kill them. They replicate faster than we can work with, I believe. So even if, you know, there's only 997 germs in there, they're just gonna fester and expand out into the whole area here. So I'm gonna cancel that. And I think we might just have to write off this body of water. Somewhat annoyingly, we could maybe try doing something like this to get a little bit ahead of the game. Again, I will set that to priority 9, and hopefully our duplicants will get on that. I think if we want them to get on it like now, we need to go ahead and make building a priority. So if we set building a very high priority for everybody, they might go and build that. Guys, no. Why can they not get here? Unreachable build. Why can you guys not get down here? Oh, it's the ladder. They're missing a ladder. Priority 9. Please come and build this ASAP. This is like your top priority right now. If you guys could come and build this, that'd be great. If we can prevent germs from getting into this bit of water, then we can quarantine off this side of germ-infested water and move the rest over here. Again, it's not a huge deal simply due to the fact that we don't need super clean water for that much. That has worked. So we're going to quarantine our polluted water here. All of this water should still be fine. It's more water than I would like to have lost. And there is still some clean water here. We could have maybe moved that a bit further back, but that's fine. For now, that's A-okay. That's not great. And that was definitely a silly mistake to make. But for now, we'll just throw down a standard tile right about there. And that will be that area finished. This does need polluted water, of course. So let's get plumbing going across to here. Like so. And I guess we could potentially hijack this pre-existing pipe. If we do something like this, we do want to delete this pipe and we do want to delete the bridge here. Oh, no, wait, we don't want to delete the bridge. If we delete the bridge, then the water's going to come flowing out. What we do want to delete is, like, these pipes. Hold on. We do want to delete these pipes up here. Like, these now serve no purpose, and this bridge can go, and these pipes can go here, because right now there's no clean water going anywhere. But what we can do is just hook, like, this pipe up here to this pipe. I'm going to wait until they delete this pipe first, because otherwise we're going to pump polluted water directly into our clean water, which would not be great, especially considering what we've just done down here. So we'll hold off on that for the time being until they've definitely deleted those pipes, which I think they have just done. They have. Fantastic. So for now, we can just do this like so, and that should be fine. Actually, no, ignore me. I'm a fool. That is not going to be fine because we need polluted water. We don't need... This is clean water. We're filtering this water to make it clean. Let me instead do something... How am I going to do this? The polluted water is all the way over here. I guess we could just run it in the floor like this and then have a bridge right here. It's not ideal, but I think it will get the job done. So we'll hook that up like so. We'll also delete these pipes because there's no reason for them to be here. Get rid of those. And then once that is done, we need to connect up our power wires because still this is not connected. So let's go ahead and reconnect this. I'm going to make this a priority 9. I just want to get that done so we can actually start to produce oxygen and start producing algae as well. We should also do like a priority 7 sweep over here, or mop even, so we can get rid of that polluted water. Nobody should be getting wet feet over there. Our new lavatory also needs to be hooked up, so we'll do something like this and like this. That should work out just fine. We can delete that pipe as well. There's no need for it now. All right, things are looking pretty good. Carbon dioxide is the next thing that I desperately need to work on. I'm going to delete the apothecary for now, mostly because I don't think it belongs down here. I might make like a medicine bay or something, or maybe even a hospital at some point further up in the base. And right now, nobody is sick. I don't think we need the apothecary. It'd be nice to get the gold back as well. But what we do need is somewhere to put our carbon skimmer, which for now I'm going to put right about here. And hopefully it's pretty fast. You can see the hatches are starting to get a little bit of carbon dioxide in there, which is not great. This guy is finally on 9, and so we should start to see, yeah, look at this. Like, straight away, you can see the number of germs in the air around where the actual clean oxygen is being pumped are going down quite rapidly. Like, it's disappearing just so fast. The same is true over here. You can see there's not really any germs here. There are quite a bit of slime lung over here. This should just die. It shouldn't really make it into the core base because there's so much clean oxygen here that it should just slowly decay as time goes on. This is going to be kind of a constant battle until we move the storage bin, but everything here should do a pretty good job of keeping the amount of slime lung in the base down. The carbon skimmer is ready to go. So this guy inputs clean water, which we're going to do like this, and then exports polluted water, which we can just hook back up to the pipe here. I guess we don't want to do that simply due to the fact that we want the polluted water from the carbon skimmer going into this body of water, because if this pipe here gets backed up, which it will, like these balm lilies only require so much, not balm lilies, these thimbleweeds only require so much water. And so if these are full on water, this pipe will get backed up, at which point the carbon skimmer will stop working. So we don't want that. Instead, what we want is we want to get a liquid bridge that looks something like this. And then we want to have the polluted water going into there and then up and back across over. Although I guess actually it's going to make a lot more sense to just go up to there. Yeah, nice. That should work. You can see we're already getting polluted water from our algae distillers, which is good. We can cancel these for now. That's fine. Germ-wise, yeah, this is pretty bad, but again, that's okay. I don't think it matters too much. Even if we do get slime lung in the water, we're not using the water for anything edible, so that should be fine. Temperature-wise, yeah, you can see these guys get quite hot, 40 degrees already. They're definitely going to start to increase the temperature in the room, which is already 35, 30. That's going to get real hot in there real quick, so do have to worry about that. It could possibly get too hot for our duplicates to comfortably enter or even safely enter if it gets too hot, which is again one of the reasons why I want to get this auto sweeper up and running as fast as possible. Let's have a look at this real quick. Materials are automatically delivered to any conveyor loader, conveyor receptacle, storage, or buildings within range. So whereabouts is this? I assume it's under utilities, maybe automation, potentially shipping. Okay, so we're missing refined metal. Let's go ahead and make 200 kilograms of refined metal. I've not done this before, and so forgive me if my information on this auto sweeper is incorrect, but I'm going to try and set this up real quick. I'm going to try and just set up a basic, like, rudimentary system where we have the auto sweeper put stuff into a storage bin for us. That should result in our duplicates no longer having to go into this area down here. That's the idea, at least. And then eventually later on down the line, we can improve it to make it, like, fully automated. New skills available, which is good. Bert is one of them, thank goodness. We can actually get electrical engineering online. Mima is also ready for bedside manner, I guess? Actually, no, we'll give her exosuit training. She likes it. She's going to get a morale bonus. That's all good. And then for now, Hassan, who is doing farming and digging, I guess can go and do even harder digging, although I'm quite tempted to give him construction as well. Now that we've given it to one of our duplicates, like I said before, I kind of want everybody to have it. Although I guess crop tending makes sense. Again, it's a morale boost, and it's going to make him faster at harvesting all of our crops and whatnot, so that is good. Let us assign copper to this. There we go, copper has been delivered. And so now we should be able to tune these up. I do wonder if we're going to see an increase. Like if we hover over it, I wonder if it's going to show us the increase in wattage there. But I'd be quite interested to see how much of an increase we do get, if any. That would be pretty interesting. We are also running out of storage here. I will dig out a bit of space over on this side and also finish up the tiling here, just so we can put down a few more storage bins, start to sweep up some of the debris that finds itself all over the base. The carbon skimmer is getting to work, and already you can see the benefits here. You can see there's no longer any carbon dioxide in this room over here, which is good. And it's doing what looks to be a fairly good job. It's pumping out a little bit of polluted water, taking in just a little bit of the clean water. And so everything seems just fine for now, which is very good. We're still waiting on copper for this auto sweeper, although I think we did just put our copper into here. Yeah, we've got 50 kilograms in the power control station. So let's go ahead and get a little bit more in the way of copper here. I'll get quite a bit. We've got a good amount of copper. Speaking of which, we should also just schedule some digs over here. So if anyone gets a spare minute, they can go and dig out some of the available copper over here. Bedrooms are still something I want to work on. I'd like to get a decent amount of thimbleweed going so we can put down some paintings and really make the bedrooms better than they are now. Because right now our duplicates do spend a fair amount of time in these rooms, and the decor in here is not particularly high. And by that I mean it's quite bad. You'll see we've got a total decor score of 0 right there. Right now the only decor we're getting really is from the shine bugs, which thankfully are, you know, replicating and dropping eggs. You can see we've got one right here, and just increasing the overall decor of the base. They're kind of really useful, which is great. We should also put a door down here so we don't end up with quite as bad of a situation as we had before. Again, the door's not going to stop it, because if a duplicate goes in and water comes out, then everything's still going to be bad. But what we can do is we can lock the door so that duplicates and liquids can't go in or out, which would be the case in like an emergency situation. We could say it's like a priority 9 lock and try and mitigate things right away. That does remind me, we can go ahead and undo this priority now. I'm going to set everyone's building priority back to standard again, so that they'll do everything else that they're prioritized to do before they do building. We should set the power control station to a slightly higher priority here, so that we can actually hopefully see maybe the tuning of that, potentially. And we do now have the ability to make our sweeper, and I want to get this down before they start pumping that copper over here. And you'll see it's actually got quite a large area, so we are going to have to make some room over here. The area is not quite that big, and it also does need direct access, so we might have to move a fair bit of stuff here. But what I'm thinking is, if we come in and we delete the ladders here, which I think is just buildings, that's not going to work, is it? Because that's going to result in a trapped duplicate, which is not what we want. You'll see it's got quite a large area. If I put this in like a room that's got a ton of space, you'll see it's got a huge radius around it. And so what I might do actually is just kind of delete this tile, and then maybe move the ladder over by 1. I think that might give us enough space. So yeah, let's do that. And then hopefully putting one like here, we'll be able to reach down here and deposit things into maybe a storage container here, or maybe even a storage container 1 tile up as well. I'm not too sure. But if we can get this up and running and working in the way that I envision it working, that would be really nice. So let's delete the building that is the ladders here, and also this block. For now, we can put another ladder right about there. Yeah, you can see this doesn't quite reach it. Again, I think it does need like line of sight to the distiller, and so I think we will have to maybe get rid of like this tile, like these tiles here as well. Essentially, I think we might just have to make this the roof of the algae distiller building. Temperatures are getting a little high, but that's okay. I am going to put this... maybe the here is not going to work, actually. I guess we could maybe use 2 of these if needs be. We could have like 1 here and 1 here. That might be necessary, because it looks like 1 is not going to be able to cover the whole area. Can they reach this? I don't know if they can. I might have to put like a temporary ladder that goes across like that so they can actually get rid of that. Oh my goodness, look at this guy. This guy has grown quite a bit since last episode. Oh my goodness, that thing is crazy looking. But let's have a look at our blueprints here. We've got a wart seed. We've got another pokey shell, which we can put down. I'm not too bothered for another duplicate just yet. I'll take the wart seed. We can use it to make wheezewort, which I believe is a very cold plant, if I remember correctly. From the last time I played this, I'm not entirely certain on that, so don't quote me there, but that sounds right to me. The slime lung you can see is almost completely taken care of in this area at least. You can see the oxygen has done a great job. Again, it is going to slowly seep out with the slime being available there, so we definitely do need to quarantine that off. That's probably something we'll work on in the next episode. For now, let's get a slightly higher priority going on the deletion of this. And then I do wish to delete these ladders, but I'm going to set the priorities at like 9, 8, 7, 6, and 5, so that hopefully they delete that in the right order, and they don't leave somebody stranded on like one of these ladders over here. That would be ideal. That almost didn't work. They did get rid of like the second to last ladder before the last ladder, but that's fine. Let's get our auto sweeper up and running. So I'll put the first one, I guess, here is going to be ideal so they can actually reach the floor. Sure, put it there. Oh, it does. Oh, it requires the mechatronics electrical engineering. Okay. So we actually can't do this yet. Again, we are waiting on Bert to become the highest level of engineer you've ever seen. So I guess for now, we're just going to have to live with what's here. I'll disable that for now. There's no point building it if we can't use it. Okay, so about 10 minutes later, I did record like another 5 to 7 minutes of the episode here, but I ran out of hard drive space, and thus the recording just cut off at the part that you've just seen there. Apparently I've been recording too much, oxygen not included lately, and my hard drive can't take it. But nevertheless, I'll just quickly run you through what I did here. Essentially, I built a fridge so that we could finally move all of the stuff out of our ration box and up and into the Great Hall here. I'm not a huge fan of the positioning of this. I would much prefer it to be either central or maybe even where the water cooler is here, and so I might move this at some point in the future. For now, it's just getting the food closer to the duplicants so they spend less time walking backwards and forwards to get to the ration box and then to get to the Great Hall, and they can spend more time doing, more productive things. I also went ahead and filled in all of these over here. Again, I just copied the settings and pasted it to all of our hydroponic farms here. We don't have all the seeds for this just yet, but as the seeds become available, the duplicants will just auto-plant it, and that is that's good. I started deleting this over here. We can hit play actually real quick and just finish up the deletion. Stinky is gonna end up trapped here, which is not great. I should have done the gosh dang it. I should have done the like priority trick so they got deleted in the right order. Actually, I don't need this one. I think you can jump that, right? No? You can't jump that? Okay, real quick. I'll throw the ladder back down then in that case. But that's essentially all I did there. I talked a little bit about the research that we're going to do in the next episode. Oh, we can jump that. Never mind. We'll delete that and then X. And then we'll do priority 9 and priority 8 on those deletions there so that hopefully... Oh, wrong way around. Priority... It doesn't matter. They'll get rid of both of these. No one's going to have to go stand on the video otherwise. So that is fine. But yeah, I talked a little bit about the research that we're going to do going forward here. Of course, we do want to get... Bert up to the point where he can actually work with the sweepers, the auto sweepers, so we can automate some stuff over there. Next time, we'll come back and maybe start looking towards actually going down and trying to find oil. I talked a little bit about exosuits. We do need to get exosuits research unlocked, but we do have, I think it's Mimar, who is like an expert in exosuits now, so we can get those up and running. And the exosuits essentially allow our duplicants to interact with more hostile environments. They don't have to worry about not being able to breathe in chlorine and hydrogen. They don't have to worry as much about massive temperature changes like the negative 30 of this ice biome we've got over here. And as we head further down to the core of the world, we're going to get hotter and hotter temperatures in search of oil, which is going to be useful for making plastics. Plastics allow us to make more comfortable amenities for our base. We can make like these comfy beds as opposed to the cots we've got now. We can get plastic ladders, which is just faster than the regular ladders, meaning our duplicants can be yet more productive. And we can look towards moving on and getting more science complete to get down to this engine and rocket stuff down at the bottom here, which I guess is our end goal for now at least. But For now, guys, as always, if you did enjoy the video and you want to see more Oxygen Not Included, be sure to hit that like button. It really does help out a lot. Leave a comment down below, subscribe if you're new here to get notified as soon as new videos go out. As always, thank you very so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.